What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Charlie Hustle, IAC Lifestyle, back again with another episode of our podcast, Unapologetically Unfiltered. As you can see, my lovely co-host Candy Hustle not in the building, but she's making some moves, so we're not tripping too much. But I got my guy Boo here with me from HITMKR. We're here to talk about some software that he's got going on, him and his team. We're also going to discuss some things he had going on prior to that, his independent career as a musician and an artist, and just get to know him a little bit more on the platform and what him and his team are trying to build. So, Vu, you want to give us a quick, small little introduction?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So my name is Vu, and I'm the founder and CEO of HITMKR. Our platform allows artists, producers, and engineers to quickly set up their own online music business and have full control and transparency over how they're getting music and merch and everything else directly to their fans. So that's kind of like the journey I'm on right now, and appreciate you for having me on this podcast.
Most definitely. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us and just give the viewers and listeners some insights on how this can help them take their career to the next level. So let's go ahead and just start with some of the basic information. So what is your background in audio and music?
Yeah, background in audio and music, man. I've done everything from live shows to music production to audio engineering, but kind of like um, where I love to spend a lot of my time is actually writing music, recording music, and then doing live shows. So prior to building out HITMKR, I was an independent artist, a
Okay.
rapper. I don't look like it right now, but that was the lane that I was in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love doing that, just being a recording artist.
Very nice. And so mainly hip hop, I assume. I think you may have said that, but mainly hip
Yeah,
hop.
yeah,
You do dabble
mainly hip
in.
hop. Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
mainly hip hop. Yeah. Yeah, hip hop is just where it's at. That's where my heart is at.
Very nice. Hell yeah. All right. So next question is, what career goals did you have for yourself coming up? And what did your parents have, or was there an expectation that your parents had for you as far as what career path they wanted you to follow?
Yeah, career goals. Honestly, no real career goals. Like all throughout my time from up until high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do in the professional world. I always wanted to be a musician, and so I
Okay.
always was chasing music. So by the time I was about to graduate high school, I told my parents like, "Yeah, I'm not going to college. I just want to do music." But of course, that type of conversation don't fly in an Asian family, Asian
Gotcha.
household.
Okay.
Um, my parents themselves never pushed me in any direct path. For them, like both of them, they never graduated high school. And so the opportunity for me just to pursue an education here in the States is already a blessing. And so
Yep.
there was no real pressure on what is it that you need to do career wise. It's more about go and get the most out of your education and make sure that
Okay.
you're well rounded. That's the most important part. But I think, being in the Asian community at the time, I don't know how it is now, but like the medical field was such a big thing. It's, for them, it's like
Okay.
it's a stable job. Um, it pays well. And so like they always want that type of security. It was never a
Definitely.
push in that direction, but of course, like if you choose to do a medical route, it'll be good. But of course,
Okay.
I never made it that far. Never made it that far. Ended up going to college, and I told them if I'm going to college, I'm gonna do something to help benefit my music career. And
Yeah.
so I signed up for business school and tried to go the marketing route. That was my
Okay.
initial intent. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. And I appreciate that and I think most parents want the best for their children. And I think we as artists have this dream that we want to, blow be the next big thing. And I don't want to
Yep.
say our parents try to bring us down, but they, they're like, think a little more realistically, find something that's going to be stable, is going to provide that security. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I can appreciate that, but I also respect and understand your part too. Like, no, I want to go all in with this music thing. This is what I really want to do. So, and I think there comes you find some more happiness in really pursuing what you want to do. Like the job security and all that stuff, it'll be nice, and it'll
Yep.
help take care of you on that financial end and all those things. But I think when you're really pursuing what you want to do is when you really find that internal happiness, and you're like, okay, even if it doesn't turn out how I want it to, at least I'm happy pursuing it, and that's part of
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. What's something I noticed is that you become successful or you really excel when you truly love something, right? When
Yeah.
you truly love what you're doing. there's no other way about it. I mean, you might be able to get to a certain level pursuing something you don't like just because it pays,
Yeah.
but you're not going to be happy. But if you put yourself into a position where you truly love it, you're curious about it naturally, you're going to find ways to excel in it and be able to get to that level of success. Right?
So
It just
true.
happened that way.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. So next question is, where are you originally from?
I was born in Vietnam, came here to the States when I was two. First generation immigrant. Yeah, that's just how it happened. We landed up in Dallas, Texas. And so
Okay.
spent my entire life out in Texas until recently, up until last year. Moved out to California after that.
Ooh, okay, very nice. How was the move, and after being for Texas your whole life, the transition going to California, and there's in every state there's different cultures, there's similarities and all that stuff, but I imagine the lifestyle in Texas isn't the same as it is in LA.
Yeah, definitely not. I've visited California quite a lot. Been out to the Bay. I used to go out to the Bay probably like once every 2 months. Been out
Okay.
to SoCal quite a lot as well. So I understood the culture and the difference between Texas and Cali. Um, so there was no real big shock, right, when I moved out here
Okay.
because I already understood what that transition
Yeah.
was going to be like. Um, but of course, yeah, I don't have my the activities out here are different. Like I used to go hunting a lot out in Texas. I would have my
Okay.
gun. I would have like barbecue, driving big trucks, like the whole, Texas lifestyle versus here is a bit different. People don't really gravitate towards those type of activities. Um, but there is it's no shock. It's been a slow progression. I've been out here, so
Okay.
yeah,
You
smooth
already know what it
transition. I would
was.
say.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah. Good, good. So now my next question is, coming from Vietnam, and you were younger, obviously, so maybe this is something that your parents may have filled you in. Um,
yeah.
how did you guys get to Texas? Like, do you get to choose where you go, or how does that, if you're comfortable answering, how does that whole process work when you're immigrating from another country into the States?
Yeah, so from what my dad told me, obviously, so there's a transition period, right? So there's certain host countries that would host refugee camps, and we
Okay.
ended up in the Philippines. We stayed at the refugee camps in the Philippines for 11 months, and from there, you don't get to pick where you go next, like where your home base will be or where your home country will be. How it works is a sponsorship. Someone from that particular country would have to sponsor you, or some organization would sponsor you,
Got you.
and it's
Okay.
it's, it's randomized like a raffling system, right? And the day that we got picked, we got lucky because the family that got picked in our like in the original spot to go that day dropped out. I don't know why. I think their one of their family members was sick or something, so they actually couldn't fly out. And so we got picked in their spot, and
Wow.
we just happened to get paired up into the group that was going to get dropped off in Texas, Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
It's just all chance, right? It's all about luck and chance and kind of going with the opportunity that was presented to you. So we didn't really
Definitely.
have a choice, but I think it worked out the way that it did.
No, for sure, for sure. That's cool. That's
Yeah,
interesting. I've always wondered that too. So I appreciate you, answering that question and giving some clarity on that. I think it's pretty cool too, um, on how that process kind of works too. 'Cause especially if you've never been through, you don't know anybody who has, you never really know.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's
now,
it's yeah.
oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's a process in itself, right? There's a lot of unknowns,
Yeah.
right? Even for those who have gone through it, it's like, would you want to go through it again? Probably not, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Definitely. All right. So now you said you went to school for marketing. I imagine you obviously went to school in Texas. Where'd you attend your to do your studies?
yeah, University of Texas at Austin, Longhorns.
Okay. Very
Yep,
nice. So you bleed orange, as they say.
burnt orange, burnt orange. You got to be very specific.
Very very specific. I got you now.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I got some family out in Austin. So on occasion, we'll frequent and we'll touch down with the family out there. So I love that area. I think Sixth Street is amazing. There's always
yeah.
something to do. The music scene is bananas in Austin. That
Definitely.
downtown area is
Yeah,
legit.
definitely. And one of the reasons why I chose to go to UT, right? It just made sense. It's the live music capital of the world. And being able to go to UT allowed me to really develop my career as a musician, and I built a good network out there. That's home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I like that. So now, prior to Hitmaker, and we'll dive into that, what's other projects have you and your team worked on, or what have you guys been involved in, or what are some things that you started, maybe didn't finish, or you started and they just didn't pan out? Can you give us some history on some previous projects?
Yeah. Startup wise, Hitmaker's my third project that I pursued personally. I think I started my whole tech entrepreneurship journey in 2019. That's when
Okay,
probably even prior to that, the first project we tried to build, me and my best friend tried to build, didn't really go nowhere. We had an idea, we tried to put some stuff together, but couldn't come to an agreement on certain things, and obviously we didn't pick the right industry to keep us motivated. We
okay,
tried to build something in travel, which none of us really knew uh,
okay,
much about travel in itself, so it didn't really make sense. And so it was a learning experience. And the second one was in the music space, but honestly, it was my first time diving deep into it, building out a team, pouring money into this product or this thing that we're building, and learned a lot from it, made a lot of mistakes. Ultimately, it didn't really go anywhere because we didn't exactly know what we're building. I didn't put
okay,
together the right team, right? We didn't have the right talent, and it was a year and a half of learning, making a lot of mistakes, and thank God I did, because by the time that I built out Hitmaker, I thought I felt a lot more ready, right?
yeah,
Going through those progressions and learning from those mistakes that I made early on. So Hitmaker's my third third try at this. Yeah.
very
Third
nice,
time's a
cool.
charm.
Third time's a charm, yes, sir. No, I like that, and I feel you on, having made the mistakes early on and you kind of work
Yeah.
out the kinks and all that stuff. Cause we have the apparel brand, the IAC Active Lifestyle brand. And I know one of the mistakes I made early on was buying a whole lot of product without having a want for it.
Yep.
And that was a hard lesson to learn, because then it was just like, I'm just sitting on all this money that we
Hmm.
cannot move. And so I'm working with a mentor now for the apparel business. And that was the one thing he told me, that was the same mistake he made early on too. And he goes, so it's
Yep.
good you learned it, got it out the way. He goes, because now we can get a new plan in place and we can move more strategically. Um,
Definitely. Yeah.
so I
And I
like how
think
that applies everywhere, essentially.
everywhere. And yeah, like music, apparel, business is all the same, right? It's how fast you learn, how fast you fail and learn from that, and then the grit. Like, do you have the grit to pick yourself back up and try
Yeah.
it again? Right? You're not gonna hit success the first time. You're gonna have to try
Oh yeah.
hundreds of times. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So now I know this, the viewers and the listeners may not know this, but you're a family man. So you've got a wife and you've got how many kiddos?
We got one kiddo, a son. We
Just
got a son.
okay. And
Yeah.
how old is your son, if you don't mind me asking?
5 months. Yeah,
So
five
it's
months today.
a newbie.
Newbie, yeah. Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
So and I don't, obviously I don't know how long you and your wife have been together, but and you don't have to answer it, but if she was with you during the previous two projects you had, how have you guys been able to manage that, and also you being able to be as available as you can to your wife, and then now with the newborn, how have you guys been able to manage all that, and what is her support like, knowing that you're trying to build the hit maker and all this stuff and get it jumping?
Yeah, yeah. We've been together for 8 years now. It's been a lovely journey. I feel like there's so much to unfold in this question. Um, yeah, she's been there before bef- like it's interesting. She came into my life when I was like in that transitional period of like going from independent musician to let me step into this like tech entrepreneurship journey, right?
Okay.
But I think for her, she always knew I had this bug of like, oh, I want to do something for myself. I want to build something big. And so she's been supportive since day one. And obviously the transition into like, let's commit fully into this journey wasn't always easy, right? I remember when I first started off my first project, I was still working at a full-time job, and 2021 was when Hitmaker started. 2021, and I'm diving deep into this where I'm still doing a 40-hour job full time, and then I'm 5 in the morning to 9 in the morning I'm working on Hitmaker.
Yeah.
6 p.m. to midnight I'm working on Hitmaker. Saturday, Sunday I'm working on Hitmaker full time.
Oh
It got
yeah.
to the point where we had a lot of traction. I'm like, man, I'm sick of like it was hard to balance. I'm sick of my full time job. Like I want to make that leap and say, all right, let me fully commit to building out Hitmaker. And that was a hard conversation for us to have because you're stepping into something that's unknown. You're taking on a lot of risk, and obviously, it's unfair to ask her to take that risk with me. And
Yeah.
if it was anyone else, right, that conversation could have fallen apart. That relationship could have fallen apart
No,
easily if
definitely.
your woman isn't really supporting you. But my wife has has been there since the beginning, and it it took a lot of like just conversations and understanding of like how serious I am about this entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah.
But she's been with me since the start. Has been kind of like my solid foundation to help me get where I'm at, and
Nice.
finally making that transition of saying, all right, I'm doing Hitmaker full time. I don't think I could have done it without her support, to be honest.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's been amazing. And then kind of like balancing life early on without the kid. We're both so busy, like her and with her career, and me and myself with Hitmaker. Sorry, give me 1 second.
No, no, you're good.
We've been so like career focused as a couple. She was super busy with her career. I was super busy with mine. So it wasn't that hard to find that balance. We worked hella hard, and
Yeah.
then we played hella hard. And so it was easy. It's just we're on the same page. And when it comes to family, now with our baby, it's the same thing, right? On the same page. We're like, when I go to work and I'm working on Hitmaker, it's like heads down, focus, 9 to 5. That's all I do, and don't get distracted because that's the only time you're gonna spend on it. And then evening time is
Oh
family
yeah.
time, weekend time is family time. It's protected, um, and we're both so committed to that schedule. It works out. It's not hard to balance that because when I'm at work, I'm at work. Like
Oh yeah.
if you can't get shit done at work, that's your fault, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not focused.
Yep.
Don't let that bleed into family time. So that's kind of like where we're at.
Okay, very nice. And I think it's crucial to have a plan in place. So when I went to school, I was going to school full time and I was working full time as well. And we have kids. So we have 7 kids total, but we only have 4 here with us in
Yeah,
Phoenix. And they're all older and they're, pretty self-sufficient and independent. But I still needed to figure out how to manage that too, because I didn't want anybody or anything to be neglected. So I had to focus on school, but I had to give my wife attention. Also had to give myself time. I also had to give the kids attention. So we were able to navigate through it. And, we picked out a specific day that, hey, this is the day that we're going to hang out. And then with the kids, I found that they wanted to be involved in what I was learning. So I would just have them help me on whatever school projects I had. And that was kind of how we spent our time together. Like my 10-year-old, we were doing a video game class and we had to make the sounds for the video game. I got pinned with the making the noises for I think the dinosaur or the gargoyle. And so I just had
yeah,
him come and make the noise and I would record him doing the noises. So we do multiple takes and that's how
I
we would
love that.
spend our time together. You know what I mean? And so I think it's huge when you can find that balance and you're both on the same on the same plan and understanding of okay, this is what we're gonna do here, this is what we're gonna do here. I think it helps just in the end for your sanity, but also you being how successful you are. You know what I mean? Because if your partner's not on board and he or she doesn't understand why you need to set out specific times and have an agenda in place, and it's always like, hey, you're not paying attention to me but I need to focus on this, then you're going to lose traction on one area and then just throws everything off.
Definitely, yeah. you're totally right. And I think, um, communication is key, right?
Yeah.
If you have a good form of communication with your partner, like a lot of things are possible, right? But without communication, things starts to break down.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Definitely. So now we can dive into Hitmaker, and I know you touched on it earlier in your intro, but if you want to
yep,
just give us some more insight on, how you came up with the name, how you came up with the concept for it, and some of the early stages on what and how you guys were getting it built and what you went through in the early stages of it.
yeah, for sure. Um, my grand vision for Hitmaker is to build out a company that serves the creative community. All types of makers, from like art, film to music to creators, kind of encapsulating the entire entertainment industry. And so I knew that maker, or being the maker of something, was part, definitely I wanted to be a part of the name.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think maker.com or something was already taken. And the next best thing was like Hitmaker. It just kind of made sense. Like a hit, have a hit film, a
Yep.
hit project, a hit song. And so it just made sense to name it Hitmaker. And I wanted a name where, once you hear it right away, you knew exactly what industry it was in,
Oh
right? There was
yeah.
no disputing that Hitmaker is in the music industry or entertainment industry. And you don't have to explain yourself. What is Hitmaker? Like,
Yeah.
it just makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And when we started the project, I think I mentioned this earlier. I started it in 2019, June of 2019, June 3rd of 2019. I remember the exact day and what I was doing. Um, when we built it out, it was just myself. And like I mentioned, this is the third go at the entrepreneurship route, and it was just myself. I started from scratch, got rid of my previous team, got rid of the previous product and project. Um, and this go around, I wanted to be able to build out a proof of concept and get it going first, even if it was
Yeah.
bare bones. I wanted to be able to build something so that I can shop it around and say, hey, this is the idea I have, and
Yeah.
then kind of grow it organically. And we started off as a marketplace for beats, for producers to sell beats. And this is not new. There's like huge beats competitors already, like
Yeah.
BeatStars and Airbit.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to like get my foot in the door, build something that was easy. I already had a lot of connections with producers. Being an independent artist, it was just the
Yeah.
easiest way for me to get it off the ground. And so that was the first thing we built out. And you know, from there, I was, like I mentioned, I was still working a full time job, building this on the side, and it got to the point where, like, all right, I think I'm ready to take this seriously, and so I applied for an accelerator out in Austin, Texas. So I joined a tech accelerator. It was like a 6 or 8 week program where you work on your project, and then at the end of that, you pitch your project for an investment, right? So I went through
Okay.
that whole deal, and luckily, I came out on the other end with an investment, so they wrote me my
Nice.
fresh check, and that allowed me to fully step into this entrepreneurship route and build out Hitmaker to what it is today. So we went from being a beats marketplace to a collaboration platform where it allows artists to go from an ideation of a song all the way to getting it recorded on the platform, getting it mixed, mastered, and then ultimately getting it distributed through streaming platforms. So we built that entire thing out. Definitely a learning experience. We couldn't really find a good fit for the product because, you know, um, really like experienced musicians already have a built out behavior. They already
Yeah.
have producers that they work with. They already have studios that they go to. They have DAWs that they already use. Like, it's hard to
Yep.
get them to go away from Pro Tools or Logic Pro. And then aspiring musicians don't even know what mixing is. Like, what is
Yeah.
mixing? What is mastering? Like, it's too complex for them, right? So we couldn't really find a good product market fit for that, and we pivoted. So even with this particular hitmaker journey, we're still experimenting, we're still learning, but like I mentioned, you got to fail fast and like figure it out
Of
quickly,
course.
right? Um, and that's kind of what led us to I think, is our final version of where we're at now, and we're going to just continue to build more on top of it. Is an infrastructure taking what we had from the collaboration side and allowing artists and producers and engineers to use that to build their business, to build an online business, to be able to sell music, merch, tickets, services, anything that they want directly to their fans, and have full control over the way that they run their business, and then full transparency into like who my fans are,
Yeah.
how am I making revenue, where are they at, how can I get connected with them. I think those are all valuable information that obviously, apparently, marketplaces and streaming platforms are keeping for themselves and not giving out to the artists, which is kind of unfair, right? Like
Yeah.
you're essentially helping them build a platform to benefit themselves, and you're losing a lot of information that you need to really grow and nurture your fans. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
what we're, yeah,
Very nice. No, and I appreciate what you guys are building. And it's this is get a little backtracking, but it's funny you say because the whole mixing and mastering thing. So when I used to record years ago
yeah,
as an artist, it was always just, hey, here's the beat. I'm gonna go in, do my song, send it to me
yeah,
when it's done. You know what I mean? Like, and I remember one time they were like, let me just have the song after I'm done recording it, so I can take it and put it on a CD or do whatever. And they're like, it's not gonna sound good. And I'm like, but what do you mean we just recorded? And they're like, no, there's a
yeah,
whole other process after. I mean, now I know all about that
yeah,
stuff, but it's just funny that you said that because before I had no clue about mixing and mastering. But back to Hitmaker, I appreciated what you guys are building because if you look at where things are at now, you have like Spotify and Apple Music and all these digital streaming platforms, and you look at what you have to accomplish in order to get a decent payout. Like I think Snoop Dogg said something where he had, a billion streams or something, and he only got like $45,000 or something like that. I mean, which is
yeah.
still, more than I got. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
why? It's his product. It's his music. He's putting in all the work for it, and it's taken him a billion streams to get that much. And then you look at companies like BeatStars, and this is again not knocking these platforms. I think they're great for what they are, but
Yeah,
they charge these service fees and all these other things, and it just takes
yeah,
away from giving the actual person who created this, what I think they deserve.
yeah, and yeah. If you look at the genesis of like these products or platform, it makes sense, right? The way that it evolved. Spotify was never built for the artists; it was built for the consumers. Like, how can I make it easy for the consumers to get as many songs as they want to play, right? Like, get their hands on the music fast. That in itself devalues the music that the musicians make, right? At the end of the day, now it's just like so easy to get music. People are putting music out just to figure out how to get viral. It's less of like let me enjoy the art or the project that was put out, and just
So
it
true.
ruins that experience. It ruins that experience, and the same thing with like beats marketplaces, right? It was never built intentionally for the producer per se. It's more built for the artist. Can I make it easy for the artist to find as many beats as they can at a cheap price so that they can make
Yeah.
more music, right? And so it's always the end consumers that are benefiting. And when the end consumers are benefiting at such a high value, the providers at the end of the day always get the short end of the stick, right? And
Of
unfortunately, that's
course.
how the streaming industry has turned it into. And it's hard for you to even make $100 on Spotify. And
Yeah.
if you pour money, ad money into getting eyeballs on your streaming, it just doesn't make sense because you can put $1,000 in the ads, but how many streams do you have to actually get to get paid out $1,000?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So the
Exactly.
returns on it just doesn't make sense.
No, no, I agree 100%. So what have been some of the biggest challenges that you guys have faced with Hitmaker, in the early stages up to where you guys are at now?
Yeah. Um, it's a good question. I think obviously figuring out the right product to build and then figuring out the right target audience to
Mm,
really hone in on,
yeah,
right? There's so many different levers you could pull when you're working on something like this and there's no blueprint to follow, right?
that's so true.
You can take one of a million different directions to get to the finish line. And so like having to like really hone in and make the right decision on what should I change about my product, or what should I change about who I target. There's so many different factors, and I think that's the hardest thing, like making those type of decisions so that you can
Yeah.
continue to guide your team and your company down the right path. And I think, we've gotten lucky enough to where we've made a lot of these decisions quickly,
Okay.
and find out quickly that, hey, that's not the right direction, or that's
Yeah.
not the right decision. Let's pivot, let's change. And kudos to my team for having that ability to shift and pivot with me at
Yeah.
a quick pace. I think that's the only way that we managed to like really hone in on what we're doing, right? The
No, for
team and
sure.
how talented they are. I think that's the only way that we've been able to like get to where we're at.
No, definitely. I think having a strong team behind you, a strong and knowledgeable team,
Yes.
is crucial to the success of everybody involved. So, with that being said, how did you pick the new team you were going to work with? I know you said from your previous project you kind of started over and nixed, some of those team players. So, how did you go about saying, okay, with Hitmaker, I'm going to specifically select this person because of X, Y, and Z that they can bring?
Definitely. The first, like with the previous project before Hitmaker, I was just very excited to have anyone that was excited as well to join me on this journey, right? And
Okay.
if you raise your hand and you say, "Hey, I want to work with you," I'm like, "All right, you're in. You're part of the team," you know. Um, and obviously that's the wrong way to go about it. And like what I've learned from that mistake was that you really need to understand your strengths. Like what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And you start to build out your team based on your weaknesses, right? So like what am I not good at? I need to find someone to fill that gap, and someone that's good at that, so that way they can help balance out my weakness. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like, or
yeah.
balance, like complement my strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's how I approach this whole thing of like, it's not about someone who's excited. It's about someone who can complement your skills, right? And help fill in the gaps, and build a cohesive team to work. Now, obviously, being in tech, you need someone that's really strong as an engineer, first off, to
Yeah.
build the product, right? And then you need someone that is really strong in the business sense of like, going out and talking to the customers and understanding what customers need, and then bring that back and working with the engineering team to build that out. And then you need someone that knows how to market and someone that knows how to make the sales, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, and my team, we're still very young, we're still very small, so there's certain gaps that we still haven't filled yet. And so there are times where I'm wearing different hats. I'm wearing the marketing hat, I'm wearing the sales hat, I'm
Oh
wearing the
yeah.
engineering hat, in order to make things happen. But that's how I'm approaching it now, finding skilled people to fill in the gaps, for this to work. And I brought in a very talented CTO to like manage the engineering team. We recently brought on a chief product officer to be able to focus on building out a product that allows the customers to be very successful,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So like I'm still filling in those gaps as we're progressing.
Very nice. No, I like that, and I think that's a conversation Candace and I had with our stuff too. Is like we need to find somebody who can handle, because I know what I'm good at. Just like you said, you know what your strengths are, but I need to find somebody who can handle X, Y, and Z because I know these are my weak areas. And I think that you complement each other. And I think there also has to be an understanding of, this, I'm going to bring you on, this is going to be your role. I will value your input and I will value, everything else. But I also need you to understand that I'm bringing you on because this is what you're good at. This is what I need you to, focus 95% of your attention on. So I think the
Def-
team
def-
is huge that you involve yourself with.
yeah, and I think even early days, like finding people is very difficult. Like getting them to like commit. Like when you come up with an idea, it's your baby, right? But you need to
Yeah.
find someone else that loves your baby as much as you do, so
Yep.
they can commit,
Oh
60
yeah.
hours, 8 hours a week to helping you build this thing. Um, and so it's like luck, being able to like find the right people to come on and like that are just as committed as you, then also like finding people who are willing to take that risk, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's a hard balance, man. It's a hard thing to do.
No, for
Hard thing
sure.
to.
I can see it on my end, but I think yours is on a larger scale. So I can only imagine, the juggling act that you have on your hands, and
Yeah,
making sure everybody's like, all right, guys, let's focus. Let's, we got to be all in. So, but again, what I mean, I feel like if it's worked out thus far, then you got a good team on your hands, and definitely excited to see the continued growth and see where you guys continue to go from here.
yeah. Thank you so much.
So, with that being said, my next question is, what are your future plans for Hitmaker? Because obviously, and we have conversations, fairly often about where it's at now, and some new features and stuff that we'd like to see. And I know you get with your team from there and kind of, toss it around as well. So I know what you guys have already.
Yeah,
And I think you touched on what you guys offer as well now. So what do we have to look forward to in the future?
yeah. I mean, our current focus right now, and like I mentioned, we built out a platform that addresses three different personas: independent artists, producers, engineers. Like the common thread between them is music, right, and business, but each persona operate very differently. An artist operates very different from an
Oh
engineer
yeah.
versus a producer, and so the tools that they need are very different from each other. Um, and so we're still trying to figure out a way to like segment that out, build things that could be used by all three, but then also find time to dive deep, right, into a particular persona. So right now our focus is on the artist side to like
Okay.
dive deep into that and build out the correct tools for them to first off get music out to their fans and be able to really nurture their fan base and take back that control. Because like, if you release songs on streaming platforms, you have no clue who's listening to your music. Who are your actual
So true.
fans?
Yeah.
You don't have that data. And that's the differentiator for us and what we're building out. We want to give you that power so you can operate and own your business. So that's the next thing that we're building out. And that's beneficial for artists, but also beneficial for engineers and producers. It works across the board, right? Um, and then focusing on our community. We want to do more activations with our community. We got to where we're at because of our community and our users who
Yeah.
believe in us since the early days, since day one, giving us feedback, building with us. To help us really get to the right product. And so we want to give back to our community. So we're trying to launch this initiative where it's called the Hitmaker House. We're hosting these events for the community so that they can put a face to the name and really come out and first off get access to our team, talk to us on a more personal level, but then
Okay.
also get a chance to network with other Hitmaker users in the community. So those are our two big things that we're really focusing on, right? Bringing more value to our product and how people utilize it, and then bringing more value to our actual community in person and being able to build more of a organic in
Yeah.
person type of thing outside of the
Oh yeah.
platform. Yeah,
That's dope. No, I think that's huge too. And I like how you are really involving your users, right? So, with most companies, they'll take data and they might, get some input here and there from people. But
yeah,
like you said, with the Hitmaker House, and I know this firsthand. Obviously, we've been working fairly closely over the course of the past few months. And you guys
yeah,
literally are involving everybody who uses this platform and asking for feedback. Hey, you guys having issues with XYZ? What would you like to see? And I think that's huge because not only do we feel appreciated and we feel valued, but then it's
definitely.
like, okay, they're taking us into consideration as they build, how you put it, your baby, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
and making it friendly, for user friendly for us, but all the while
yeah,
we're, kind of working simultaneously. You're building your brand, and then we're getting to build ours, and we're working together to help each other build those too. And I think that's most important because a lot of people skip that part and don't really
yeah.
involve, the people directly who are utilizing what you're trying to build.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and I think for early startups, that's if you don't get that down, that's a huge miss, right? Like if you're not working with your actual community, then you're not going to really know what you're building. And if you're not involving your community, you're going to eventually steer in the wrong direction pretty
Yeah.
quickly,
Oh yeah.
right? So, I mean, as a musician, I'm building this out for a musician. It only makes sense to like partner with musicians as
Yeah.
closely as we can, and make sure that we build this out right, right?
Definitely. Hell yeah, man. So where can people find you guys? How can people get involved, get some more info on Hitmaker and the brand and all that good stuff?
Yeah, easy as going to hitmaker.com. That's HITMKR.com, and sign up, right? And throughout that process, we'll be in touch with you. We send out an email as soon as you sign up for you to join our online community. And once you get access to the online community, you get a lot more additional insights to like what we're doing. You get touch points with the team. You get access to secret sessions and beta features that you get, be the first person to try it out and give us feedback. And I
Very
think that's the
nice.
best way to interact with us. Yeah, so sign up for the platform and then get access to our community.
Very nice. And you want to shout out your socials as well, where they can find you on social
Yeah,
media?
definitely. Yep, all of our social media, you can find us on pretty much every platform at Hitmaker Inc. HITMKR HITMKRINC. You can use that handle for everything.
Very nice. So make sure y'all go find them and follow them, get involved. So the last thing that we always do at the end of every episode of the podcast is what we call a rapid fire. So usually
Yeah.
Candace and I will come up with some questions and we'll just, pop off the questions and you just answer first thing that comes to mind, or, if you got to think about it for a second, whatever the case is. But just to give, the viewers, listeners a little more insights into, our guests, and kind of keep things, a little fun at the end. We kind of just went through this whole spiel, of the history of Hitmaker and all that. So I think this is a little fun segment that we like to do just to keep things light. So I'll just start off with the questions and then you just answer as they come to mind. So the first question is the favorite city that you've ever visited.
Favorite city, man. Chicago. Oh no, New York. Chicago.
Okay. Chicago, final answer.
I go final answer.
Got you. Your favorite rapper.
Favorite rapper, Jay-Z.
Okay. Sweet or salty?
Oh, spicy.
Okay, I like that. Hell yeah. Your biggest fear.
Biggest fear, man. Not achieving my goals.
Hell yeah, I like that. Luxury car or sports car?
Luxury cars or sport cars. Classic American muscle.
My
I don't know where
man,
that falls.
let's go. In a whole nother category.
Yeah.
Mountains or the beach?
Oh, mountains for sure.
Your favorite sports team?
Favorite sports team. Man, I'm not really into sports, but I guess
Okay,
Dallas Cowboys.
okay. Your favorite quote?
Favorite quote. Oh man. My favorite quote actually is from the Bible. I can do all things through him, pretty much. Yeah, I don't think I
Who
quoted that right,
strengthens
but
me?
yeah, who strengthens me?
I
There
think
you
that
go.
was it. Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and the last question is, what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, I want to be remembered for. I think first off, being a good family man, right? So being a good husband and being a good dad. I think that's top of mind for me. And then being a great businessman. Yeah.
Very nice. Hell yeah, I like that. Good answers. Well, that is going to conclude this episode of the IAC Lifestyle Podcast. So again, Boo, I appreciate you. I'm sure the viewers and listeners do as well, coming on and just giving us some background on yourself and kind of some trials and tribulations you've gone through, but how you've also persevered and got to where you are with Hitmaker. And I know I'm personally excited to continue to see where the growth is. And again, like you said, go find them, go tap in, at least check it out. If nothing else, I think that they're onto something, the team over there at Hitmaker. And if you're an artist, producer, engineer, I really think that it's huge to, again, at least just check it out and see what they can do for you and how they can help you out. And I think it's a game changer. So I'm highly honored to be a part of it, and the little role that I have, and to be able to communicate openly with them as they build it. But Boo, if you have anything else to say, please do.
Nothing else, man. But the only thing is, yeah, give us a shot. We're here to build with you. We're here to build with the music community. So if you want to get involved with us early, and we will build out something great over the next couple of years.
Hell yeah, and I can vouch and say that this is true, because what I've got now with my website, they helped me build it, and it's only just the beginning. But I've had, and I don't think I've told you this, but I've had quite a few people, professionals, that have told me that the website looks great. And mine's, I don't have nothing on mine. I got, my services, my biography, and like the 4
Yeah.
tracks I have. But just the way that it's structured and the way that you guys have the template laid out is what I think makes it nice and easy for people to maneuver through on the consumer side, but then also on our end, it makes it easy for us to build it and just have it structured. So I don't know if I had told you that, but a lot of people are loving what they're seeing. So kudos to the team at HITMKR. And again, thank you for joining us. Until next time, Charlie Hustle, we're out.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate it.